in the hope that Bournemouth could help them. And this was the reaction when the full-time whistle went and the reality sunk in that they, after 3 successive second places in the Premier League, had finally gone one better, and they knew they were champions of England. That was the Arsenal and staff all together at the training ground. This is the Arsenal fans outside the Emirates Stadium, all spread around Islington tonight. 22 long and sometimes painful and hurtful years finally have come to an end, guided through by Mikel Arteta. And around the globe, they are all celebrating. Social media, understandably, going into overdrive as well. I wonder what one Arsene Wenger thinks wherever he was getting that news tonight as well, after all that he did in terms of moving to the Emirates Stadium, that is finally the home of the champions. Mikel Arteta as well, Jolien, who celebrations everywhere. Now you may be wondering where our good friend Ian Wright is, because he couldn't be with us tonight. He wanted to be in and around the Emirates Stadium, so we sent Danny. It was a challenge to track him down, and I am just hearing that Danny has finally succeeded with writing.
Steve, thank you. There is only one man really we need to hear from tonight. Ian Wright. Arsenal are champions again.
It's just been so tough the last 3 years, and to finally do it, honestly, what can I say, Mikel? Unbelievable. For what he done, almost visionary what he done, you know, came in, he turned everything around, got the owners on side, got the fans on side, got players out, got players in, stuck to his principles, brought the player, Al End, you know, Pierre Mertesacker, he's leaving now. Unbelievable work he's done for us, and you know, even Eddie's got to get some love, you know, Vinay, you know, all these people have, for the last 3-4 years, have got us to this. You know, it's amazing, honestly, and this club deserves it. Our fans deserve it, all around the world and everywhere. We deserve this, man.
I can hear the emotion in your voice.
Yeah,
I mean, the last, especially given what's happened in the last 3 years, finishing second, does that make this almost more powerful of the feeling?
There's so many times, you know, with Arsenal fans, you just feel like, you know, people just hammer us all the time, constantly hammer our manager for his gimmicks, he's this, he's that. Now they can't do that no more. All that noise has got to stop, because everything he's done has led to him winning the league. So they can't hammer him for his gimmicks now, but the fans getting hammered. We're bottlers, we're this, we're that. We've had to take that for the last 3 years, and now this season, this team, with the squad that they built, you know, finally, like the people said at the start of the season, that this squad is good enough to do it, and they were.
What has tonight been like, watching that game, watching City, get that one back late as well?
Oh, mate. You know, the thing is that when they scored, I was absolutely over the moon. They missed a couple of good chances as well, but I got in the cab, got my missus and my girls in the cab, and I said, we're going down, and let's go to the Emirates. And then Haaland scored. Right, but I think there's only like a minute or 2 minutes to go in that, so the cab man, the taxi driver had it on, and I said, just turn it down, I don't want to listen to it. But he said, no, you've got to listen, and then bam, they blew the whistle, and it was done. It's just, I'm just, you know what, I don't know how I feel at the minute, but what was really nice is being amongst the fans. I know they nearly broke my ribs and stuff, but being amongst the fans and feeling it, you know, because I felt it with them the last 3 seasons. We must come short for whatever reason, so for us to be there together, you know what I mean, them squashing me to death was, I wouldn't change anything.
As you say, there are literally thousands and thousands outside the Emirates right now. I'm not sure you are, I'm not going to lie. You might be a lock in this for the rest of the evening. But like, as you say, to experience this now as a fan, after 22 years, what's it like when you go out there and see them all?
You know something, it feels better, because I was injured for the last half of that season. So as much as I was in the dressing room for most of it, you know what I mean, and got back towards the end, to be on the journey as a fan from the off, like when Mikel got here, when I said, you know, this is the guy to come in and kick some people's butts and that, and get us back to where we need to be. I'm so pleased. It will look well in history now, simply because I believe in the club, I believe in the owners and what they've done. I believed in Mikel and the players he brought in. You know, as Declan Rice, Saka, Saliba, Magalhaes, Raya, with what he's done. You know, I'm naming people, you know, even Eze coming and having some moments. These players have to get a Premier League medal, what they've done for this club. you know, Ben White, what he's done for us. You know what I mean? Honestly, you know, it's like I'm just delighted for the club, man.
I mean, you could almost go through and name the entire squad, but like
Easily.
this, does it feel like now it's not going to be 22 years again, is it, until they win another one? Does this feel like the start of maybe of something under Mikel?
You hope so, because obviously the first one's the toughest one to get, and you know, now they've got that one. You know, Pep's, you know, announced he's leaving, so that I don't know, is he going to hit the ground running? Whoever comes in, can Mikel get the momentum and keep going? That's what we're hoping. We've got the squad for it, and I know there's players around the world who want to sign for Arsenal, so fingers crossed that we can go on a Manchester City tear, do 2 or 3. I'd love us to win another couple in the next 5-6 years, absolutely.
Right, really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening,
you
as long as it lasts.
We knew Wrighty would be on the Guinness and kissing the badge, and rightly so. He's been through it all in this very studio, watching Arsenal's disappointments and getting so close, and he and the fans will enjoy that. And it is, you know how much the club means to supporters, and it does make or break their season, their life sometimes. I mean, this is a special evening after 22 years for Arsenal.
It's a huge evening. It'll be a night that they remember forever. It'll be a trophy that some of these fans have, first trophy they remember of this significance. So, yeah, it'll go on for a lot longer than this evening, I'm sure. All week up until next week, when their realisation is of the Champions League. So, he said it's probably the worst place to be now as a non-Arsenal fan, that close to the ground, and I can't imagine any of them fans going home anytime soon.
It's a whole generation, isn't it? I mean, some people, yeah, okay, they won it 22 years ago, but if somebody's 28 years of age, they're not going to have remembered when they won it last time, when they were 5 or something. So this is, you know, from 0 to 30 years of age, really, this is the first time in many people's lives that they watched, they remembered, they supported. And that's a lot of people. That's, you know, a big generation of people have seen Arsenal succeed in the Premier League for the first time. So
there's a lot of symmetry here, isn't there? Because we watched United in the 90s go, 26 years? We watched Liverpool recently under Klopp go 30 years, and Arsenal have gone 22 years. I mean, that's a long time for those 3 giants of a football club to not win the league title.
Yeah, and I touched on it before. I mean, when you start getting a good team like Arsenal have got, you've got to make hay while the sun shines. This is a very good team. You can't just win it once. You know, because your cycle might not be for another 20 years. When you've got a good team, you need to make it last as long as possible. Win as many things as possible. Be as relentless as possible. You know, Tim mentioned before about Arteta now. That one's gone. How are we going to keep it? How are we going to win it again next season? Now, of course, he's got the Champions League final to focus on first. But the day after that, he'll be thinking, how do we retain our title?
And he's seen Pep think exactly and act like that, hasn't he, as his assistant?
Well, he's emulated that. Again, that's why it'd be a huge part of their success is emulating what he's seen and what he's learned. So you expect that to happen in terms of that focus and that drive and that ambition. It should, because, yeah, it's great to win it once and it'll live long in the memory, but to go on and be double winners is huge. Is that what, two teams done that? So to go on and achieve something that even a smaller group have achieved, it will be an added motivation next season.
He would have been dreading that game at Palace at the weekend. Now he hasn't got to worry about that. All he can do now is he prepare the team for the Champions League final. It gives him a huge advantage. I know that Paris Saint-Germain haven't got any worry about any domestic league either, but it's done. So he can give minutes to the players he wants to give minutes to. You know, I think Palace would be relieved as well because, you know, no one's going to be pointing any fingers at them resting players 3 games before.
I wonder how many changes he's got now. He probably had a team already in his mind, right? These 11 are going to play.
Whoever turns up sober.
Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly. It might be a total change now and just, you
like
know,
guys like Max Downham, we might see them, you know, Howland, he talked about it. Per Mertesacker, the job he done with the academy there. You know, Lewis Skelly coming through, Sacco's possibly one of the greatest forward players they have in their team at the moment. They all come through, they all cost nothing. You know, they got a conveyor belt of players to come through. And when you've got winners, you've got people who have done it, they can learn off them great players, you know, they can experience, they can, like a sponge, just soak it off them if you're a young kid. They're learning from people with the personalities of being champions. And that goes a long way. It really does. It brings the development on a lot quicker, especially at a great academy like they have.
You played with. I mean, to come back from the heartache, to change the culture of the club, to keep building, to keep going. What a word for him tonight, and the way he's led the whole project.
Oh, huge honour for him and the club. But yeah, to Mikel to go on and to be his first managerial job and show the level of consistency and work ethic that it takes to be a champion, to manage at that level. Again, someone I know, and I knew he understood the game, but I didn't see him going on to kind of be this good of a coach so early in his career. So yeah, huge honour for him, and he should take a lot of pride in this. But knowing Mikel, he'll probably celebrate tonight and then get back down to business and think about, well, can we do the double and win the Champions League?
Yeah, because we said they were 3 games away from history. They're only 2 really, because the last Premier League game doesn't matter now. That Champions League final, as difficult as it is, against Mikel Arteta's former club, there's only 3 teams in the Premier League era done it. Champions League and Premier League in the same team. I mean, in the same season rather. What a season this could be if they could upset the odds in there as well.
Yeah, they've got a chance. I mean, Paris Saint-Germain, I think, are a better team than them. But I tell you what, Paris Saint-Germain won't have come up against anything like this Arsenal team. Once they line up alongside them, see the size of them, once they get a corner and see the blocking and the pushing and the put, all of a sudden, Paris Saint-Germain won't be used to marking players like that, being bombarded like that. Their goalkeeper's not brilliant on crosses. They won't know what's hit them. Now, they need to keep them, they need to not give any set players away. That's Arsenal's best chance, especially against Paris Saint-Germain. They're a good defensive, solid team, Arsenal. They're not going to prize open teams necessarily. But I tell you what, as I say, if they can make it a physical game, get a few set pieces, Paris won't fancy. They won't be licking their lips against Arsenal.
Tim, you had a season of heartache, almost getting a title, and then going again the next year and doing it right at the death. So you know what a lot of those Arsenal players are feeling right now.
Massive relief, for them group of players, and they've done it 3 times on the spin, and then finally got over the line. Now they're not going to have to listen to the noise, of us and fans and everyone speaking about, have they got the bottle? Have they got the character for it? They've done it now. They've got over the line. They're going to be a real force. They're a young group of players. The manager, is fine margins in management. If he didn't win anything this season, there'll be a lot of Arsenal fans and a lot of pundits questioning his position at that football club, having spent a lot of money. But he has now. He succeeded. They're on the brink of doing the double, the big double. If they can manage to do that, and I agree with Mo, I just think that what gives them the best chance is not going toe-to-toe with PSG. They will get beat. The contrasting styles gives them the chance. They will soak it up. They'll bring them on. They have counter-attacking players like Saka, Martinelli's got the pace. If they can take their chances, they've got every chance to win this football match, Steve. They really have. And congratulations to Arsenal. It's tough. It's a tough night for anyone in Tottenham colours to see them winning up the road and your team not being able to get a draw at Stamford Bridge and still in a relegation battle. But you have to take your hat off to them and say congratulations.
It was their moment outside the Emirates Stadium, because it's a feeling they haven't experienced for 22 long years. In fact, Arsenal supporters 14 times in their entire history have experienced the feeling of being crowned champions, and that is exactly what's happened tonight after Manchester City's draw at Bournemouth. And all the Arsenal staff and players at the training ground who watched that Manchester City-Bournemouth game together could let out that relief, could start those celebrations that they will most certainly be allowed tonight, because they don't have to go to Crystal Palace and get a result on Sunday. They are champions with 1 game to spare. And after the heartache, that is a special feeling as a player, to finally get your hands on or know you're a Premier League champion.
Oh, yeah, we'll live forever in their memories. We'll create a bond between that group of players and that people forever. Again, it's not something you probably think is that realistic as a kid, especially for me. It was just a case of becoming a footballer, and all of a sudden you get into the Premier League and then it becomes a realistic goal. And so to achieve that, it's a huge honour for them, that group of players, that club. Yes, they've had success in the past, but these are modern day legends now for Arsenal.
People just think that it's just this season, don't they? They look at it and think, well, all that hard work this season, congratulations. No, this has been years and years and years of trying and getting closer and closer and closer, and the whole process is tiring and it's deflating, and you get knocked down, you bounce back, and you've got to be stronger. And then Liverpool go ahead of you, and then Man City go ahead of you, you know, and they've just come second all the time for 3, and then eventually, after all those years, they've done it, and no one can deny that they've deserved to do it over these years. Over those 4 years, they've scored the most points out of any team. So absolutely, they do deserve it. I mean, I do find it fun. If they had lost the league this season, it is quite ironic that I think half of those fans that are celebrating in the streets now would probably be saying, let's get Arteta out. You know, as they were building, I've been astonished by some of the Arsenal fans' attitude towards Arteta. When you see progress, when you see success, okay, not in terms of silverware, but success doesn't have to be silverware all at once. The building blocks, you know, they've been coming second. Last season they came second, and then a semi-final of the Champions League. This season they were second or first, and now a final of the Champions. It's progress all the time, and just if they didn't win it this season, I bet you there would have been calls for him to be sacked again. It's awful, really. It's pathetic, and I've not liked that throughout the season. However, you know, now he's won it, hopefully all those cries will go away, and they'll give him the respect that he deserves.
Is that not, as you were saying, the fine lines of modern day management and
that's what it's all about
in this day and
That's
age?
what it's all about. I mean, an added bonus, like I said at the top of the show, is that Guardiola's not going to be, we think, at Man City, and he stopped him winning the league twice. Otherwise they would have done it a few years ago. Jurgen Klopp stopped him doing it. Genius managers, you know, are no longer in the Premier League or next season. So it gives them a better opportunity to be able to do it again. And the noise stops now. You know, the questions are going to stop. Have they got the bottle? Have they got the character? They've got all that now. They've got the squad. They've certainly got the squad. They find a way. They know different ways to play the game. They're getting over the line. You have to give credit to them. You have to hold your hands up and say, you won it, fair and square. Whoever gets over the line first, has more points, deserves to win the Premier League. You don't do it by luck. It doesn't matter if they score goals from set pieces. It doesn't matter they've had 8-1-0 victories. It doesn't matter. In history, it will not have an asterisk by it, identifying the reasons why. It will just say champions 2026 Arsenal.
And also the fact they've been top for almost 230 days this season. They've led the way, haven't they? They've been there to be chased all season.
Yeah, they've been the most consistent team. I think their worst performance and worst game is very close to their best. That doesn't mean the most exciting throughout the season. I think City have been more exciting to watch at certain stage of the season, but the consistency wins you the title, and they've been the most consistent throughout the whole season. Yes, and I think the kind of status of them being at the top for so long would have had a bigger impact if they didn't go on to win.
Yeah.
But again, like Tim said, no one's going to care how long you are at the top when you go on to win. There's no details attached to that trophy. It's going to be gold. It's going to be remembered forever.
And it's spin it as well. If that was the Everton game at the Hill Dickinson for Man City, and today at the Vitality for Bournemouth, if that was Arsenal going to them games, the reason they would have lost them games is what? Bottle, character. We're not saying that about Man City because they've already been there and they've done it. We're not saying that about them. It's just sometimes you just lose games. But if you're Arsenal and you haven't got over the line and you've come second 3 times, people always say it's just the character, it's just the bottle. You haven't got the character to be able to get over the line. Now they have, that noise will stop, and that will be a blessing to them all.
Yeah, the noise will stop. So when you've won one and then you win another one, as you did, Jolien, I mean, when you're going for the second one, how different is it, the fact you've been that course before and finally completed it?
It's different and difficult for different reasons based on the expectation probably that everyone has now. It's not going to case of being Arsenal should be doing this, they should be doing that because they've done it before. So it's going to flip on its head. The pressure's still going to be the same, but you have an inner belief and experience to reference. So yeah, it's going to be difficult, but like Tim said, I think they're the next team that's best placed because they've got so many elements already in place. Yes, there might be equally as attractive managers and styles of play, but Man United haven't played in Europe, so they've got that to attend to.
Yeah.
Xavi Alonso has got a new squad, so that again, on a slot is difficult for him as well. So in all the elements, City potentially a new manager. So what you're looking at as a complete package and club, Arsenal have most of them elements in place.
I mean, we thought about Liverpool last season, didn't we? But I certainly think about Arsenal. You can see them repeating what they've just done. I mean, There's nothing that they've done that you think, wow, I mean, this is a very, very strong, solid, efficient team that you can see.
Squad.
They're going to do it again. You can see them knocking that points total together again. And when you look at the opposition, Liverpool are in turmoil, Chelsea are in turmoil, they're playing really poorly. Manchester United are upwardly mobile at the moment, but they've still got a lot of surgery to a couple of players going, big players going. As you say, European football to contend with, it might be a year to... A lot of the top teams are struggling at the moment. There is an opportunity for Arsenal if they keep that consistency, which I can't see any reason why they wouldn't. As I say, I couldn't see any reason why Liverpool would this season. Then it could be theirs for the immediate future.
And that seed of doubt that there's been there this season, we haven't won one, and everyone's easily, like you're saying, sitting in television studios going, well, they haven't got over the line, they haven't won a trophy. They have now. So that makes it a little bit mentally easier when you've got one.
Absolutely, because they haven't got to listen to that noise. They might say internally that it's nothing about that, but we would always say it is, because it's the only thing we can see what is missing from their squad. They have the ability. They have different ways of playing. The manager's very good. They're set piece. They get over the line. I think they tick all the boxes apart from actually being able to achieve it, and now they've achieved it, so we can't point the finger at them. That all the light bulb moments for Arteta, all the TikToks and he's getting ridiculed for, all pays off now, all makes sense. Everyone says, well, it must be the right way to go about it. He's quirky in the way he manages, and I think the questions will stop being asked now because he's a winner. He's a winner and he's capable of doing it again. And what he would have learned from Guardiola is how to get back on the horse and do it again. This is gone now. We've won it. Let's get on to next year. Let's strengthen this squad, let's build it again, and we go again. And that is relentless management, and you would have seen it when you've won it previously, repetition of doing it again. We wasn't able to do that. We didn't have the foundations in there. It was almost like we limped over the line and we was exhausted after that, and it was just such a relief, and it was working out. Then we stopped investing. We had players who come into the club. We didn't do that. Arsenal have done that, and they will go again. There will be some top signings who want to come to Arsenal because they're the Premier League champions now and possibly champions of Europe.
Absolutely. And as I say, the last time they did it was the Invincibles 22 years ago. And when you speak to the team and squad that won it, they can't believe they've had to wait that long. But in the Premier League era, only 3 teams have won it more. Chelsea, 1 ahead. City's 8, and of course, although none, of course, since the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson. So 4 Premier League titles now, Michael, and for a club of Arsenal's side, they'll look at that list and they'll want to get level with Chelsea, and then they'll want to put themselves, towards the higher echelons, won't they? That's the history of Arsenal. It demands that. Exactly, and this is their moment. It's very, very difficult to be one of the best teams and to stay there. And we've seen teams over the years look at the successful teams at the moment from that list there, Chelsea, in and around them. They're miles away from it at the moment. That's going to be years before they can build. They might have to do an Arsenal and come second and second and second. That could be 5 years if things go well. You can't just do it like that. This is a building block. This is a hard league to win. And some of those teams that are higher than them numerically, let's say, you'd have to say that Arsenal are the favourites now to close that gap rather than other teams going further ahead. This is a young, fresh, hungry team with a real hungry manager, good players, solid players. They look like they're in a solid financial position into the Champions League final. That can only enhance their experience as a squad as well, the finances off the back of it. If they manage this well, they could be here to stay for the next 5-6 years. Who knows? If they win the Champions League, are we putting them down to the greatest Arsenal team we've ever seen? Would they surpass the Invincibles? Not for me. In results, of course. On achievements, they have to be up there. But not to watch. You're looking at Thierry Henry's and Bergkamp's and players like that.
But it also depends on what they go on to achieve.
But they didn't win the Premier League and Champions League in the same season, did they?
Well, as I say, on achievements, no.
They didn't win the Champions League, yeah. They've only been in one Champions League.
But they've had a whole career as well. Let's say they go on to win 3 more titles and a couple more Champions Leagues, and it's the same group of players like we're speaking about, then you will have to say that. But at the start of their careers, we wasn't talking about Thierry Henry the same way we're talking about Bukayo Saka at 22, 23, because he hadn't achieved the Premier League. So if they go on to achieve what we are saying they can do over the next 4 to 5 years, then there's definitely a larger conversation there.
You just said they're not obviously the best to watch. In terms of the open question from Tim, but does that matter here and now? If you were an Arsenal player, do you?
No chance. No one's ever going to remember how you play if you win. Like, you analyse it if you lose and you look back and think, oh, what could you have done different? But when you win, and your objective is to win the title or win the FA Cup or any competition, and you win it, you never look back and think, how did we play? Because you got the job done.
And the other thing is, it's not like they've won it playing like this at the moment. That's not to say they're going to be like this forever.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal would love to find another centre forward. They're not happy with Gyökeres, really. They're not happy with a couple of positions. If someone comes available that's top, if a Thierry Henry comes available again, they would move heaven and earth to get somebody like that in. So, and that might change the dynamic of things as well. So, okay, you know, they're not the greatest of watchers. Granted, I'd say that, but that's not to say they're going to be like that forever. They might evolve, they might get better. They've got to be careful, like a Liverpool, spending 400 and something million over a summer, trying to be even better again, that they don't ruin what they've got, but they might become even better. And that's the risk, and that's the management, and, you know, that's the next stage.
I don't think that's the case for them, because I don't think they're heavily reliant on any individual. I think Liverpool have been and tried to spread bet now, knowing that Mo Salah was coming to the end, and having been so reliant on him, how do we now spread that load and that responsibility? Arsenal aren't relying on anyone, really. They're able to change players, and their squad is so strong and so consistent throughout their squad. I don't see them doing anything drastic in the summer. I see them adding, obviously, starters, but all of a sudden their squad gets stronger because they're adding equal amount of quality and not taking any chances.
Do you think at Arsenal you got any superstars? You know, like...
Yeah.
Egos of like Mo Salah, we've seen recently. You know, I love Mo Salah. We want to see him stay in the Premier League. He won't now, he'll move on, but he's been a pleasure. But the way he's behaved, I don't see that happening at Arsenal. You know, I don't see any of their players talking out against the regime, against the manager. I don't see that happening.
Is that because the manager a few seasons ago made a big thing about changing the culture? The Aubameyang transfer was the first thing, wasn't it?
Cleared them out. It's really important, but people don't see that in the background. You notice it, we notice it, we've been in the game a long time, but the fans need to realise that it's a really important job, and it might set you back, but you come forward a lot stronger in the end.
But also, Tim, the status of all these players, and it's different to Mo Salah. Mo Salah's status at Liverpool was bigger than Arne Slot's, regardless of what he achieved. That isn't the case at Arsenal. Arteta's status is equally as big as anyone's, because he's developed them. Regardless of if you've come, like Declan Rice, come for 100 million, he still made you a champion. He still thought you was the guy that was going to do that. But because Sakho, he's developed into this captain and obviously player for England. Like, Mo Salah's status was hugely far bigger than anyone.
These are all Arteta players, aren't they?
So whoever comes in has to bow down to what he's saying. That hasn't been the case.
That's why it's going to be so difficult for whoever takes over at Man City.
Yeah, because again, you've got someone's previous regime that was bigger than yours, so it's a different
and
job.
it's quite rare, isn't it, not to have a massive superstar in the team. They've got some incredible players, but if you look at recent winners of the Premier League, you know, you say Van Dijk, Salah, oh my word, like the world's best in their respective positions.
Bruyne,
you
Haaland,
go back to you know, Haaland now for Manchester City, De Bruyne, you know, other teams have had such standout. Even going back to Leicester, they'd have had 2 or 3, you know, Vardy, Mahrez, you know, real standout players in that
but
team.
They're all developed by the coach.
Whereas Arsenal are sort of, if you said who's Arsenal's best or most important player, you would probably get a split across about 3 or 4 players.
You say
Gabriel, goalkeeper,
Raya, Gabriel,
Saliba, Rice.
And then you got a Maverick-ish, but still works very hard for the team on Bukayo Saka.
Which is incredible to say the 4 most important players that we've just named are 2 centre-halves, a goalkeeper and a sitting midfield player.
Who are very reliable.
It's
and don't play
very,
for themselves,
very rare.
play for the team.
Absolutely.
Which is crucial.